on this, you're the official spokesperson. It seems to me that it was a murky situation. There was a combination, according to the Times, of protesters who were angry about the video and local terrorists. What's the case being made that that isn't the case? If that's not the case, what is the case?
Well, Chris, look, as information is becoming available, the administration is making that available to the American people. This is a case where no one wants to get to the bottom of this more than President Obama, more than Secretary Clinton. And, you know, that's what they're focused on every day because he ultimately...
Aren't we at the bottom of it? What's complicated now? It was a combination of protesters angry about a video and a group of local terrorists who saw an opportunity.
Well, look, I think it's a case. I obviously don't work for the national security team. It's a case where they're continuing to investigate. There's an FBI, a congressional investigation going on right now. But ultimately, look, there's only one political party and one candidate who's making this a political issue. And that's unfortunate.
Well, I wouldn't take that. I'm independent. Let me just tell you what I think. Stop saying there's an independent commission looking at this. People are going to say, when are you going to have your report? After the election? That's what I would be thinking about.
As soon as it becomes available, the American
what it
people
sounds
will be the first
like
ones
is
to
the
know.
report's coming out after the election. That's what it sounds like. Congressman, what's the right way to deal with this in tonight's debate? That's the biggest question.
You say the president says we need accountability, we need transparency, we need responsibility. But fundamentally, this election, when it comes to national security and foreign policy, is about, has the president made us safer? Has he made us more secure? This is a president who made the tough choice to eliminate Osama bin Laden. This is the president who ended the war in Iraq.
But what about
and this
Libya?
is the president who's winding down in Afghanistan. We're in Long Island, you know, my hometown.
What about Libya? They're going to say, well, you're dodging the question. You're changing the topic. You got to answer it directly, I think, and boldly, and finally tonight. Finally say where it stands. It looks like a combination of events were occurring. What more do you have to know?
Look, I think the president's going to make an evaluation based on information that's gathered, and he's not going to jump the gun on that.
When's he going to do it?
He's focused on it every single day, as is his team. I think, Chris, the important point here is that, you know, this is something...
You know that Biden lost the debate on this issue the other night. On that point, he was his weakest.
Biden said exactly what was true and what Secretary Clinton said, which is that she received the request, and that's where those type of requests land and where they're denied or approved. Biden had a pretty fired up, good debate. Why do I find this so unsatisfactory?
Because it reminds me of the kind of kernel issue that gets blown up to the biggest thing in the world right before an election. It becomes a symbol of weakness and incompetence. And unless you straighten it out now and hit this at the butt and say something strong tonight, I don't think you get away with it. Anyway,